Hey, what's up guys? My name's Tristan. I'm a real estate agent. I'm on track to close 35, 40 houses by the end of 2025. I built my entire business off of for sale by owners, circle prospecting, and door knocking. Door knocking in the past 8 months has been my biggest lead source because it's just incredible. But I'm about to show you why I've transitioned from a lot of cold calling to a much more door knocking, and why I've seen a lot more success, and how I can actually control my schedule a little bit better too. So let's get into some pretty tactical tips. Okay, so tactically speaking, the way I see door knocking is like the prep, like which neighborhoods to choose, what to dress, what to wear, what to bring, what time of day, and all the other stuff, like the prep, the nonsense, the nuisance stuff. And then you have the opening line to the actual people that you're going to door knock, and then what to say in the middle of the conversation so that you can hopefully convert them to being a client. And then the last is how to close them, or how to convert them, or how to set the next appointment, or whatever it is. So that's pretty much what we're gonna go through, and it's gonna be like very just tactical stuff. All right, so let's start with the prep. One, go whenever you can. Like, it literally doesn't even matter. Like, let's say you work a nighttime job and you're a part-time realtor trying to go full-time, then go in the morning. Like, sure, less people will answer, but you know who will answer? It's gonna be stay-at-home moms. There's also gonna be retired people. There's also gonna be stay-at-home dads. There's gonna be people home. Maybe not as much, but there's gonna be people home. There's always an opportunity to talk to people, and there's always a reason to not go. And one of the reasons you could say is, oh, no one's gonna answer their door at 8 in the morning. Sure they will. I mean, there's a chance, you don't know. And so the important part is just to go find some time. The thing with door knocking is you just go as much as you want, talk to as many people as you want, leave when you want. Now, if you want to make the most amount of money, then you'll be very consistent on the times that you do go, and you'll do it every single day. You're not going to skip any days. That's how you make the most money. So then the question comes up, if I'm door knocking from 4 to 7, what am I doing with the rest of my day? So the rest of my day, like when I wake up in the morning, obviously I have my whole morning routine, which is very important. But then I do a bunch of follow-ups and putting those leads into my CRM, and then following up with them, or setting appointments, cold calling, circle prospecting, whatever I'm gonna do. And then I do like administrative work, like paperwork, or handle the business that I do have. And then I eat lunch and prepare myself to go back out to go door knock. So that's what I do with the rest of my day. Now, if I have afternoon appointments, the thing I'll try to do best, and obviously you can't control other people's schedule, but if it's an afternoon appointment, I will try to line all of them up on one day. So for example, this week, I had my Monday slap full. So I had an 11, a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 7. It was just slap full. So since I scheduled one of my appointments, he was only available at 3. Well, that'll probably go to like 4, 4:15. So it starts to eat into door knocking time. Well, it's like, well, I might as well schedule the next one at 5 and schedule at 7. And that means my 1 o'clock's open, so is my 11. So it just made it easy, a whole full day, and it only ate up one of my door knocking days. Whereas some of the people will schedule something at 5, schedule another thing at 5, schedule another thing at 5. Well, then you'll never actually go door knocking, which, by the way, I'm talking to myself because I used to do the same thing. It was like, I would get an appointment, I'd be like, oh, I'm available at 4 o'clock. And then, well, I'm at the appointment from 4 to 5:15, and then I have 30 minutes to drive to the neighborhood I want to knock. Then I only have an hour 15 to door knock. Or you can just compress it all in one day and go out and door knock. That's like more of a problem when you get down the road and you're being very consistent about it. Okay, so then the question comes up under the prep stage is, what neighborhoods do I door knock? Again, it's kind of similar to the time. Like, what time do I go door knock? Doesn't really matter. The neighborhood doesn't really matter. Now, can you improve your odds? Most certainly. So I started with townhouse communities because a lot of those townhouse communities, it's not their forever home, which we'll hear in a second is a part of the quote unquote script. And so because it's not their forever home, they plan on buying again. And if they buy, they got to sell. So then it turns into 2 transactions. However, I have 2 closing next week that are from a normal house, which would be considered like a retirement type community. Now, it's not an official 55 plus, but mostly just retired people there, still door knock that, and they also are going to buy and sell. Like, again, it doesn't really matter. Like, the whole point, stop making excuses for yourself and just go door knock. But if you're looking for the highest odds, you're probably best off going to a townhouse community because there's very high turnover, tons of people moving all the time. There's a ton of doors all right beside each other, so you're not having to walk a very far distance to get to the next house. There's so many different, strategies behind it. The most important part is it doesn't really matter. Just go. Like, find somewhere and be like, I'm gonna knock this today. Okay. Another question that you're probably wondering is like, what do I wear or what do I bring? So I literally just wear this. It's just a polo shirt. I wear khaki pants, and then I wear tennis shoes. Like, it is very, very simple. And so the point is, I want to knock on the door. I want them to look through the window and think like, who is this guy? Like, yeah, he's well dressed, but he doesn't have a clipboard. He doesn't have papers. He doesn't have like flyers. The whole point is just like, I'm trying to increase the odds that they actually answer the door. This is the last like very, very, very tactical tip. It's called spot knocking. So I actually never heard of this, but this comes from people in the alarm industry, people in the solar industry, roofing. It's where you don't knock literally door to door to door to door to door. It's where you only knock doors that have signs of life. The house looks like there are people in there. So there's 2 cars out in the driveway. The garage door is open. That lets you know there's somebody home. So you're not gonna go waste your time knocking on a door where no one's home. Because the worst thing that happens, and I'm speaking from experience, when I would go door knocking and go literally door to door to door to door, and 5, 6 people didn't answer in a row, you start to drain your energy. So then whenever I switch the strategy to, I'm gonna knock only the people that I know for sure are home. Now, if they don't answer, whatever, but most of the time they do answer, I'm gonna just keep on knocking. I get more people to answer, I can have more conversations. Now we're done with the prep, like the actual opening. When I first started door knocking, I was told this and I thought it was a load of crap until I realized it wasn't. You can almost tell exactly who's gonna come out of that door before you even knock on the door. It's very stereotypical, it's so weird how you know exactly what they're gonna be like as soon as they walk out. But I thought it was a load of crap until I knocked enough doors to have enough like subconscious data to where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can pretty much guess this person's personality type. Because you're really just trying to figure this person out in 5 seconds and then get on their same frequency. That is sales. So you wanna be able to knock the door, figure out who the person is, change your posture, change the way you look, change the way you act or whatever, the way you talk, the cadence, how slow you talk, the downward inflections, the speed, the anxiety, like the enthusiasm, the way you talk, how slow you talk immediately. And so that's very important to pick up on everything. And that's also why it's really good at door knock instead of cold call, because when you cold call, you just have tone of voice. But in person, you have body language, tone of voice, and exactly what you say, which is all forms of communication and facial expressions. So you have it all. So when someone comes to the door, I'm trying to quickly figure out, are they a D, an I, an S, or a C? And I can get really deep into the whole personality types. So a D, obviously just being a driver, just a dominant, like they're gonna be the one that open the door like, hey, what's going on? What's going on here? And you have to be able to adjust your pitch, adjust what you say to that person, because that person is just, they're trying to quick, like they just straight to the point, cut the fluff, cut the crap. And then you have an I. An I is like an influencer. They're somebody who just, they like to be liked by people. They're talkative. They're the fun ones. They're going to be the ones that come out of the door, shut the door behind them, and come and shake your hand and be like, hey, what's going on, man? What's going on in the neighborhood? They're going to want to talk to you. Those are the I's. And so then with those guys, you can just relax. You can like, oh yeah, like, yeah, I was in the neighborhood, I'm door knocking for real. You could just tell them exactly what you're doing. They're like, oh, dude, you're killing it. You're hustling. You can have a real conversation. Now the C's are gonna be like the people who like kind of crack the door open, They're gonna like slightly open the glass door and kind of lean around it and say like, what's going on in here? Do I know you? So you have to figure out how to get them out of the door, which I actually have a funny strategy for that one. If the dog is barking in the background, someone's leaning around the door, if the kid is crying, if they're on the phone, you just talk really low, really low. So instead of saying, hey, did any of the neighbors say I was gonna knock on your door? You say it so quiet. Hey, did any of the neighbors say I was gonna knock on the door? And they can't hear you. It works 100% of the time. It has worked 100% of the time. Whatever they're trying to do, they will come out. They'll apologize to you that, sorry, that it was crazy in there. Like, no worries, just no worries. The reason I'm here, we just get right into the pitch. The whole point of that is just to get them outside the door so you can actually talk to them. Then the last personality type you have is the S's. The S's are stable. They're just status quo. They don't like change. They're gonna be the ones that open the door. They're gonna move out kind of slow. They're gonna listen to you because they feel bad and they don't want to slam the door in your face. They're also not gonna be bold enough to be like, hey, go away. They're gonna just listen to the pitch. They're gonna be the ones that kind of start to shut the door. They're gonna be like, no, they're trying to get out of it. Like, we're kind of good. And then you just have to talk as if they're not shutting the door. You just keep on talking and be like, no worries. Is this your forever home? And they'll say, no, it's not my forever home. Be like, oh, okay, that's awesome. How long have you lived here? And they'll say, like 3 years. I'm cooking dinner. I gotta go. I have to. I'm on a work call. Be like, oh yeah. Okay, I'll keep it really fast. Now, y'all plan on staying here another 1 to 2 years, or y'all gonna be here like 10, 15, 20 years? Well, maybe 1 to 2 years. So the point of the opening is just to break their preoccupation. Like, when people answer the door, they are already thinking something. There's something going on in their life, way more important than you are as a salesman knocking on their door. So the opening is very important because you have got to break their mindset, because most people say like, hey, what's up? I'm Tristan with the pest control company and I'm here to sell you pests. And then they're like, I hate this guy, So you have to say something that's completely different, that throws them off, and it's a question, so that you force their brain to not think about something else, but to answer the question that you just gave them. Okay, so now that we're done with the openings, it's the meat. Now the meat of the conversation, this is where it's not really a script. At this point, the script is dead. There is no script. This is where you have to truly engage in a conversation and get out of them information. You have to like put an arrow in your quiver. Just keep putting arrows in your quiver every single time. So essentially what you're trying to figure out is, why would you even want to move from this house? What makes you want to move? What's causing you to think about moving? And then they'll start to sell you on why they want to move. Like, oh my gosh, the HOA, the driveway, the yard is too small. I just had a baby. I need another bedroom. Like anything they say, that's why they want to move. So now you got their pain. Okay. Then I ask them, like, where would you even go? Like, what would you be looking for? Then they'll say like, oh, I'm looking for this. Like, oh my, so tell me about, why do you want a yard? And then they'll start to sell you on why they want a yard, or what they plan on using it for. And now, again, everything they say is an arrow that you just put in your quiver. You just keep putting in your quiver. And then you figure out the timeline. You know, what's going to be different in 2 years rather than now? Or, you know, whenever you do plan to move 5 years down the road, what's going to be different then? Pretty much, if they blame it on the market, they blame it on the supply of houses, they blame it on the interest rates, they blame it on down payment. If they blame it on anything that's personal, you can overcome that. Now, if they say, hey, we're waiting for my kid to graduate school, we will be staying in this house until they graduate school. I don't care to change houses because I'm going to be moving to Florida. There's nothing that you can do. Just ask for a referral and move on. That's where like I could talk all day about the meat, and you just have to know what the person says to know if that you can even help them. For example, I met somebody who's going to be retiring in 18 months. And then when they retire in 18 months, they're going to move to Florida. Like, I'm not going to be like, have you thought about moving to Florida now? Like, no, because they're going to retire in 18 months. You know, it's just stupid. So you have to be able to understand like exactly what they said, why they said it. And so sometimes you'll realize that you can't do anything to help them. Like, hey, no worries. Do you know any neighbors who have thought about moving that would consider moving? Or do you have an agent that you already refer all your friends to? And they're like, oh, no, I don't. Be like, cool. Do you mind if I send you my e-card so you know I'm not an axe-murderer? And then they'll always laugh and like, ha 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 ha. I'll be like, yeah, I'll go ahead and send it to you. Here's your number, blah, blah, and send it to them, whatever. So the meat is super important, because what you're trying to get is why they want to move, where they're going to go, and when do they plan on doing it. That's where you start to put together this formula. The formula is the pain, why they want to move, the pleasure, where they're going to go, and then the timeline, which is, you know, like, is in the next year or two, and then what's stopping them from getting to that timeline. This is where, like, I'm telling you, I could talk about the meat for hours. It just depends on the person. And that's where you have to be able to understand when to push, when to pivot, when to ask for a referral, when to go on to the next door, when to close that guy, when to just say, hey, it's better for us to follow up later. The theme of this video is like, that's the power of door knocking, is you can literally figure out exactly what they're thinking. You can literally look at the people in the eyes, get so much better at converting, looking at them, looking at their body language, see how they're positioning, see if they trust you. And if they do, you can move forward. If you don't, then you got to work on your rapport, get like, dude, door knocking is just where it's at. And then the close. So this is where I get bam fam, book a meeting from a meeting. So from the doorstep, which by the way is a meeting, some people think like, oh, I'm gonna book a meeting. Sometimes you can close them right at the doorstep. I have a story, went to go door knock some guy. He said, I'm not looking to move for a year or two because my wife is pregnant. I was like, awesome, when are you due? He was due in September. So then I said, awesome, you know, if we can get you into the perfect house now, no stress, despite the interest rates, all the numbers made sense, any reason you wouldn't consider moving sooner? He was like, no, how would you do that? We went through the whole script, closed them right there. The very next day he got pre-approved, and the very next day he was looking for houses. Like, met the guy there, he planned on moving down the road, and now we're looking for houses. So that's what I'm saying, like, it really just depends on the person that you talk to and how far they will allow you to get in the conversation, how motivated they actually are. And that's where you just got to book a meeting from. So that meeting, we ended that conversation like, awesome, you know what? I think the next best step is that you just talk to my lender. They're going to be able to give you all the best information around talking with a lender. And then once we talked with a lender, him and I talked again about what they're looking for, and then we went looking for homes. So like, book a meeting from a meeting. You never just like, awesome, nice seeing you, I'll just, you know, walk away. No, you put it in your court on when you're going to follow up with them and why you're going to follow up with them, and they know why you're going to follow up with them, because you don't want them to forget and be like, why was I meeting with him? I'm not really interested, because you know that happens all the time. 1 in 150 people you talk to will do business with you in 12 months, within 12 months, or will refer someone to do business with you in the next 12 months, statistically. So then what I'm trying to do is go from 1 in 150 to maybe my opening gets better and now I'm down to 125. And then maybe I get better at body posture and eye contact or my questions. And now I'm every 1 in 100 people I talk to do business with me. And so it's all those small tweaks that slowly get you to 1 in 50 people do business with me. And that is door knocking. It's a skill. It's a skill of sales, a skill of understanding people and psychology to where you slowly get better at converting. And that's the point of this video. So that's where I feel like I talked so much, but I see the value in it because I hopefully took you from maybe 150 doors to 1 in 125 doors without you even ever having to knock, just because you have knowledge of it. So obviously I can talk like for hours and hours and hours about this. Like, I feel like I left out so much, and I also feel like I yapped for so long, but hopefully you got some value out of it. If you really like the video, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike and actually comment and tell me why, so I can help make better videos. And actually, if you loved it too, then leave a comment so I know why it's good. And anyways, my name's Tristan. I'll see you.